All right, Wilson, enough of that jolly, jolly good news. 6:31, 23 degrees out there right now. Here's a look at Cat Country News. I don't know why the president is doing it to us in the world, but he keeps poking the bear. Russia launched another massive aerial attack against Ukraine. Their President Vladimir Zelensky said Russia fired 93 cruise and ballistic missiles and 200 drones with bombardments into their country. One of the heaviest that they have seen. Ukrainian defenses able to shoot down 81 missiles and 11 cruise missiles. Some were intercepted by warplanes that Joe Biden has finally allowed them to use. Zelensky renewed his plea for international help against Putin. Uncertainty surrounds how the war will unfold next year. Why? Because Donald Trump wants to end it and bring peace to the world. The Democrats and Joe Biden continue to funnel billions into that effort with only 30-some days left in his presidency. Also now enabling the Ukraine to use long-range missiles and landmines, escalating tensions before they leave office. Among the 1,500 people whose sentences were commuted or pardoned by Joe Biden, one was a nonprofit leader who supports at-risk youth. See, this is the one that AP is covering. Now, they're not covering some of the other ones that we went over today. Embezzlement, all kinds of problems that he has released. Spies from China. Oh, yeah. The Bidens were compromised, by China from the millions that we have the bank records from that they received from China. But you're not going to get reports on those people who were pardoned. The one woman, for instance, from Chicago, small town outside of Illinois, stole $54 million from the residents. Biden pardoned her. Some in Chicago said it's a slap in the face to the people who live here. U.S. senators said mysterious drones flying at night over sensitive areas in New Jersey should be shot down. The aircraft has also been seen now in other parts of the region. It remains unclear who owns them. Dick Blumenthal, Connecticut, said Americans need intelligence. We want answers. Concerns about the drones. Phil Murphy also has concern. Now, John Kirby, spokesman for the White House and Joe Biden, said, look, we know what these aren't. They're not military drones. They're not from China. They're not from Iran. They didn't come from a ship. We know that. They're not military drones. Well, if you know what they are not, it should be easy to figure out what they are. But they're not giving anyone any information yet. Over 20 of them were spotted last night near LaGuardia Airport as well. Police said the man charged with killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was not a client of theirs, of the medical insurer. New York Police Chief of Detectives Joseph Kennedy said investigators have uncovered evidence that Luigi Mangione had prior knowledge of United Healthcare, and they were holding their investor conference there. Mangione did mention the company in a note that was found in his possession when detained by police in Pennsylvania, arrested Monday, spotted at McDonald's. He's still in jail. Lawyer there said he hasn't seen any evidence yet linking him to the crime. None. But that's what defense attorneys do. New York trying to extradite him to New York City. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who has turned a mess into the Middle East and the rest of the world, he's pressing ahead over there. He's trying to get a peaceful political transition now in Syria. After Assad took off and went to Russia, found asylum there, the outgoing Biden administration is concerned about the power vacuum now in Syria. Well, I guess you should be, since the one man that has just moved in has had ties to terrorist organizations. The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee has placed an employee on leave now after a report this week that one of the coaches accused of sexually abusing biathletes, causing one so much distress she attempted suicide. The U.S. Biathlon national team said they want to commend the athletes who came forward so they finally can address these allegations. More than 3,700 residents have returned to their Malibu homes as weather conditions improved enough to help firefighters in that Southern California blaze. Calmer winds, rising humidity helped them fight the Franklin fire. The weather improved so much that meteorologists said the red flag warnings were discontinued. They lifted some of the evacuation orders. Franklin fire is about 20% contained, burned 6 square miles. 4 homes have been destroyed. 6 others have been damaged. Of course, if you watch the news or the Weather Channel, the Weather Channel people or news people position themselves in front of the one of the 4 homes that have burned. And they make it sound like the whole area in California is like that. It's burned 4 homes. 4. Firefighters did an excellent job of getting on that in a hurry in California. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, going to donate $1 million to President Trump's inauguration fund. They will also stream his inauguration on its Prime Video service, too. Another in separate kind donation worth another $1 million comes from Meta, parent company of Facebook. The donation comes weeks after CEO Mark Zuckerberg met with Trump down at Mar-a-Lago, as they are working with the president, going to help him with his inauguration celebration. SpaceX is going to launch a new mission, making its Starbase site a new Texas city. On Thursday, Elon Musk sent a letter out to officials requesting an election to turn what it calls Starbase into an incorporated city. Starbase is in South Texas. That's the site where SpaceX builds and launches their massive Starship rockets. The area is right on the southern tip of Texas at Boca Chica Beach, near the Mexican border. The country's top executive has confirmed they received the proposal and said the county will inspect the petition for compliance before they put it to a vote. A senior official in Canada, in one of their most populous provinces, said that Ontario could bar American-made alcohol and restrict electricity to 3 U.S. states if Donald Trump puts tariffs on Canada. The states are Michigan, New York, and Minnesota. Ontario's premier said they're contemplating restricting Ontario's Liquor Control Board from buying American-made alcohol. Ontario is also considering maybe restricting exports of critical Canadian minerals that are required for electric vehicle batteries. That won't make anybody mad.
No.
Nobody's buying them here anyway. I'm not sure you want to get into a tariff war, though, with President Trump. Canada needs the U.S. more than the U.S. needs Canada, except for power. And why? Well, look what we've done to our power grid here in the U.S. The incoming administration of President Trump could bring changes to the seafood industry. Some in the industry believe that the president's tariffs could hurt the seafood industry and fishermen here. Deregulation, they said, could jeopardize fish stocks. Many in commercial fishing and processing industries said they expect him to allow fishing, though, in some protected areas, and that could actually help the fishing industry. Folks, we heard all of this before. When President Trump took over and put tariffs on China, remember John Tester said it's going to kill wheat farmers. Remember Harley Davidson? Their sales have increased. Wheat went from $240 to $460 in 6 months as soon as we put tariffs on. John Tester had no comeback for that one.
Right.
You have to wait and see. By the way, these are very, very particular tariffs. The president is going to target things and tariff other countries if we make the exact same thing here in the United States. He wants to protect our industries and our workers. I gave you the example, for instance, of coffee. He won't put tariffs on coffee. We don't raise coffee in the United States. We have to import it all. So that would be tariff-free. Just an example. We told you half the teenagers in America are online constantly. New Pew report out, 90% said they are constantly online. Now it's down from 22 when 95% were, but that was the end of the pandemic. Hell, half the kids were at home all the time. 63% of teens use TikTok, 67% Snapchat, constantly on there. By the way, if you're a YouTube TV subscriber, your monthly bills are going to get more. YouTube's announced that it is upping the price of their streaming service by $10, citing rising content cost and other investments. The new $82.99 per month price tag will go into effect starting January 13th for your existing subscribers if you have YouTube. YouTube TV has rolled out a series of price hikes over the years. When they launched, the going price was $35 a month. Now it's going to be $82.99 a month. So, if you're a YouTube executive walking down the street of New York, you better watch it because kids use YouTube more than any other site or service available.
True.
And look what Mangione did. corporate greed. This is what they're taught. Other people in the news, Morgan Wallen. Morgan Wallen got 7 days in a DUI education center and will be under supervised probation for 2 years since he threw that chair off the roof. It was approved yesterday. 2 officers were nearly hit. His attorney said he's cooperated, apologized directly for all those involved. Yesterday, the Senate, they're pushing towards a vote on legislation that will provide full Social Security benefits to millions of people. Chuck Schumer started the process yesterday on a bill that Democrats call the Social Security Fairness Act. It would eliminate policies that currently limit payouts for 2.8 million people. It passed the House, and that bill, folks, is going to add more strain to an already broke Social Security trust fund, which are already estimated to be unable to pay out benefits starting in the year 2035. That's right. 10 years from now, they'll be done. They'll be out of money. They'll be broke. This measure, so what do they do? What do they do? Well, we're going to be broke by 35. So you know what they're passing? They're passing another bill to add 2.8 million people that will add another $195 billion to our federal deficit over the next 10 years. And Chuck Schumer and everybody, they're pushing it through. I can't believe it.
I can't either.
But that's what they do, folks. That's what they do. U.S. stocks drifted lower yesterday. The S&P fell about a half a percentage point, third loss in the last 4 days. The Dow fell 234 points. NASDAQ yesterday fell 132 points. As we found out yesterday, more workers applied for unemployment benefits last week. It was up quite a bit than the month before. World shares so far are mixed today as oil prices have been hovering in the upper 60s. It stayed there yesterday. Hasn't moved much. Gasoline prices pretty affordable if you are traveling over the holiday. We told you Stanley recalling 2.6 million of their switchback and trigger action stainless steel travel mugs. If you have one, burn hazard. The threads can shrink because the heat in the mug is so hot, and when you torque it, it could cause the lid to detach, posing a burn hazard. So they're recalling them. They were sold at Walmart. They were sold at Dick's Sporting Goods, Target, and other stores, and also on Amazon's website. And an ancient relic that many Christmas revere as Jesus' crown of thorns is returning to Notre Dame 5 years after it was saved from the flames of that fire. The crown is a circular band of branches encased in a golden tube being brought back to its home Friday. The ceremony will be presided by the Archbishop of Paris. But that's interesting because of what many people believe is the original crown of thorns that when Jesus was put on the cross, they put on his head. They believe that that's the crown. They had it in the cathedral, and that crown did not burn. Isn't that something?
Yeah, make a believer out of
you. Hey, whatever, luck, who knows what, but it did not burn, and they're taking it back there today. Cat Country News Time is 6:47. Sports and weather next.
In sports, I think you're going to see some changes in the 49ers roster this week. A very lackluster football game last night, which the Rams won. 49ers have injury issues, and they had a linebacker get hurt last night.
Oh, jeez.
Got another linebacker hurt. So the coach turned to Devondre Campbell, another linebacker, said, get in there. He said, I don't feel like playing football.
Really?
You what? Yeah, I don't feel like playing football. I'm going to the locker room.
And so he went to the locker room?
Went to the locker room. And they asked the coach about it after the game, and he says, I don't know what to tell you. But for next week, we'll get her figured out.
Well, he's probably not going to be there next week.
Probably not going to be there.
Partly sunny today. Nice day, 47. You're heading up for the Cat game tonight against the Vandals. Should be smooth sailing all day today. Sunshine in 47, which is great. You don't have to worry about ice on the pass or snow or any of that kind of stuff coming through there. 48 tomorrow. Right now it's 23 at 6:49. That's what's happening. Mark and Paul here together. Merry Christmas from all of us here at the Cat.